Hey, good morning. It's Lisa Loring. I am coming to you from my bedroom today. We have a lot of activity going on, and I'm dressed up today, going out in the world. For those of you who know me, you know that I don't go out very often. I have a lot of errands to do, and I have a meeting today. So, but I felt guided today to actually, he came up for me yesterday really strongly, was Archangel Raphael. And I also have an Archangel Raphael deck by Doreen Virtue, which I haven't really used very much. But he came up really strongly for me yesterday, and he's coming up again strong for me today in my meditation. So I'm going to go ahead and I have cleared the decks, and I'm clearing my energy. So we can pick a card from the Archangel Raphael deck. Again, they're from Doreen Virtue. Who's the artist on this? I don't think she has one. But at any rate, let's pick a card and see what Archangel Raphael has to say. Recovery. Interesting. It's an interesting one. And at the bottom of the deck, exercise is key. So in the recovery card, you can see he's on a horse. It says, Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for holding my hand through my recovery upon the path of radiant health. That's interesting. And then the bottom of the deck was exercise is key. And I don't know about you, but I've definitely been taking a little better care of myself generally. And the self-care card came up a couple of days ago. And I feel like we are maybe in a state of recovery. I know Jupiter is just stationed and starting to move retrograde today as well. And we're coming out, I think, of a time planetary, the planetary alignments that suggest that we've been through a tremendous amount. And now we're about to sort of we've taken in all that we can at this point. And now it's time to kind of assess, to, take that step back and just start to make sense of everything that we have taken in, which requires us to pay attention to ourselves, to be in a place of recovery. And this one may feel like we are. Let's see what the other cards have to reveal today. We also have, I did the numerology on the day as well, and we came up with a 17, 4 plus 10. The 4 plus the 1 of the 10 gives us 5, and then 2 is 7, and then the 1 comes to an 8, and 8 is a really powerful number, and then plus that 9 is 17. And 17 in and of itself just says the angels applaud you for your optimism. You're being it is that place of recovery. You did a good job. You made it this far. And this year has been a lot, right? This year has been a lot. Now it's time to sort of exercise what we've learned and exercise it within our own lives. That's what I'm kind of getting today. As I kind of come with that. The number 17 breaks down to 8, which is a number of power. It's a number of knowledge. It is a number of having planted some really amazing seeds and being in that place of being in appreciation and in this very open, receptive state. That was another image that came up to me in meditation this morning, was about how, being in this very open and receptive state, feeling very, very open for what is about to come in, no matter what that might be. So because what we have a tendency, and that's been another theme that's come up, where we have a tendency to need to change our perception about what's bad and what's good. When we resist and we push, that's where we come to a place of not allowing, not being in that receptive mode, and being in a place where we can receive whatever it is and understand that it is for our highest good if we can just be open. So let's leave it at that. Let's be receptive. Let's be receptive this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards and see what comes up from the Shadowscapes Tarot deck. Thank you, Archangel Raphael, for being with us during this meditation and this reading. Let's see what we have. I love the title of the Daily Cosmic News. That's actually a title from Uriel Firelight. She always just says that. So I like it so much. I'm taking it. We have the Eight of Swords that came up again today. So again, this is a need to change perspective. That came up yesterday as well. And again, changing perspective is important. When we change our perspective, we release ourselves from the thought patterns that we imagine keep us bound. We can release the thought patterns. We get light. Those swords are not even pointing up. They're pointing down. They're in the ground to boot. It's another card that we have that wants to come through. Another information on the, oh, hi, okay. I've got these two that came out. This one came out first. And this is actually the Three of Swords in reverse, which is a great, that's great. That was from yesterday. And I shuffled these, you just saw me. And then the Ten of Pentacles is the next card that came up. This card wants to come out as well. And again, this is the Death card. So the bottom of the deck is the Six of Wands. So this is a really amazing progression. I think that I'm going to lean the camera down so you can see these cards. And I'm going to turn them in the way that they came out. The Eight of Swords, the Three of Swords came out reversed, and then the Ten of Pentacles. And then this was an extra card that also wanted to come up, which was the Death card. The Six of Wands is the bottom of the deck. And the Four of Swords is underneath that with the Seven of Swords. We'll try to go into that a little bit as we move through. The Eight of Swords came up yesterday, so I really want to point that out, that this is this energy of needing to release ourselves from our own thoughts, our own what's coming up for me and from a reading during my meditation as I'm looking at this card is the Eight of Swords is also the expectations of others that continue to keep us trapped. What came up for me in this particular reading, and it was actually from, I'll read it to you, was from the Al-Anon book, The Courage to Change. Today, I make choices that harm others and call for making certain, excuse me, let me stop. Certainly, I make choices that harm others and call for making amends, harm others and harm myself. But sometimes a choice that is right for me may be uncomfortable or even unacceptable to others. Other people's expectations are not my responsibility unless I have helped to create them. I can remind myself that conflict is part of life. With this step, we sort out our part, taking responsibility for our actions, but also releasing ourselves from the burden of falsely held responsibilities. So that's just a little note from the Al-Anon book that stuck with me really strongly. And when I see this card, it came back to me. And that's what we do. When we constantly, even if they are expectations that we have helped create, owning them and owning that they don't work any longer is uncomfortable. And that's where you have to start to extricate yourself from those belief systems and become light enough to move deftly. You're going to get cut. You're going to get scraped. There's no doubt about it. The Three of Swords is here to kind of remind us about that. But just as in the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Swords those swords are buried in the ground. And the clouds of this kind of maleficent looking, if you've seen Sleeping Beauty, you've seen Maleficent character has, we can continue to be this person and sort of manipulate and wield and sort of like weave and continue to create this storm around us that doesn't work for anybody. Or we can look at things differently. Yeah, we're going to get cut and scraped as we begin to look at things differently, and that conflict is part of life. Nothing is an easy ride. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. We will move on. Life goes on, and we will be the better for it, provided we learn from those mistakes. Take the lessons and move forward with them. Three of Swords. This one is actually in reverse, so no longer are we dealing with that brokenhearted situation that came up a couple of days ago. right? We've got this Three of Swords. They're falling out of, once we release ourselves from this kind of situation, the swords just kind of fall out. And we may have to, and then we have the opportunity to move on. We do get light enough to, trust in the universe. This woman here in the Ten of Pentacles, this is one of the most abundant cards in the deck. She's amazing. Like, look at this artwork that she's created here. She's made some beautiful creations. Look at the stained glass. She's moving away from a house that she's built. She's able to move away from, yes, the things that at some point have been part of her life, but she's taking that ride. She's taking that universal ride on the dragon. She's got this dragon is even holding her coin, and the peach that she holds is actually a symbol of, I don't know if you can see that, a symbol of prosperity and abundance, and of not being able to have to worry about where your next meal is coming from, basically. And she's moving away from this castle in the distance. She's waving to it. Or perhaps she's even moving toward it. She's like, oh, hey, like, there's a place we can land. Death card that came in. So whatever does need to die, whatever that needs to, you will absolutely be in this place of prosperity. Emotionally, financially, your needs will be met. I think we need to adjust our idea of what our needs actually are. We have to really, really consider that. We really need to consider that. The bottom of the deck, though, is the Six of Wands. And this is a card of victory. And it's not a card of resting on your laurels, though. And he's got this, crown of laurels. He's like, yeah, I'm victor today. But, he's still got to keep working. The Six of Wands is a card of victory. I have learned a lot. I have been through some scraps. I've cleaned myself up. And now I'm moving forward. Whatever has impaled us here by removing ourselves from this place of the Eight of Swords, from the conflicting ideologies, from the conflicting thought patterns within ourselves or from those around us, we've done it as gracefully as possible. We've done it, and I love how the swans are here in these swords cards, because it's about dealing with thought. In this Shadowscapes Tarot, I really feel like the presence of the swan so strongly teaches us how to deal with conflicting ideologies, to stand up for our beliefs, to stand up for our truth, but to do it with the grace of swans and the grace of hummingbirds, rather than, outright, bloody conflict. Yes, nobody gets away unscathed, but, they can clean themselves up. They can be victors, right? And the Four of Swords is underneath the Six of Wands. And, we have come this far. We have been victorious. And we have to kind of definitely take a moment of rest to appreciate that, to have an understanding of what our belief systems are. So when we come to a Seven of Swords place, we're not being sort of overrun and stolen from. This guy is taking that sword away from the swan, who seemingly isn't looking behind him. So it's almost as though this Six of Swords guy, Six of Wands, excuse me, he's victorious, but if you don't stay on your toes, by being in meditation, by going within, by appreciating your abundance, we end up having things taken away from us. I'm feeling really bad about it. So there is a Seven of Swords energy kind of floating around today. But, it may help us actually. So, with the Eight of Cups underneath, now that I look at this, so I throw everything around. I don't know if Wheel of Fortune. With the Eight of Cups underneath that, it almost looks as though we almost have to figure out what it is that we do want to take away. What is our takeaway here? And with the Four of Swords, again, a lot of swords today. Holy cow. This is that moment to think about it. What is the takeaway? We might have to walk away with something, with or without permission. Sometimes you have to like take what you need and then ask permission later, because she is taking that one cup. She is taking that one cup with her in the Eight of Cups as she moves forward. She's discarding the other ones. She's making a decision here. And it may feel like you're getting away with something. It may feel like you're getting away with something. Or someone has got one over on you. But no matter what, again, a card of moving forward. And, you know, underneath we have the Wheel of Fortune. I don't know, that one just kind of popped out. And then the Ace of Pentacles. So again, this Ace of Pentacles has come up twice this week. Came up Monday and it's here again today. Lots of cards of going within, but there's a lot of cards of abundance as well. So I'm going to leave it at that. And if you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I will respond. I will do a short write-up, and I'll do some stuff on Instagram. And remember that we have a card of recovery that opened up this reading. We've really come really, really far. We're in a place of recovery, and we have exercise is key. This is again that message of not resting on our laurels. Like, we have to keep moving forward with what we have, keep exercising what we know. And by going within, by recognizing how far we've come, keep flexing your considerable muscles. Keep flexing your considerable muscles. To extricate yourself from, whether it's your own ideology, whatever's coming forward from others. And keep standing in your own truth. Understanding what that is, even if things have to be, you know, things get taken away from you. You're still moving forward. So the numerology on the cards, we did the numerology on the day earlier, but we have an 8, we have a 3 that gives us 11, 10, it's 21, and then the death card is 13. So what's that? 31 plus 3 is 34. 3 and 4 again is 7. So 7 is mind and creativity, and the number 34 in and of itself. Let's look that up really quickly. I don't have it all. This wouldn't that be great? But that number 7 is coming up. Your prayers are heard. So again, we're being applauded, and here we have that card of being applauded for having come really, really far. It's time to recover. It's time to rest. There's that 4 of Swords energy coming up. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for joining me. Bye.